Good morning. Good morning. Good morning to our session three of our mother daughter chat. Trying to get Imani Ray here. Where are you? Hmm. Invite. Good morning, Betty. Good morning. Imani, are you coming? Good morning. Join the broadcast. Good. Wow. Good morning, Earl Ingram out of Milwaukee. How are you? Good morning, Tiffany Ann. Thank you for joining us for our session three of our mother daughter chat. And we're going to add bring them on camera. Yes, that's what I'm trying to do. Hmm. Let's see. How do I bring Imani on? Bring Imani on camera.
There we go. Good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. It was not easy this morning. Your Amy is on here with us. You remember Mr. Earl Ingram from Milwaukee that we used to listen to every morning?
I definitely do. Won't forget that voice on the radio.
Yes. Yes. That really gave me a blast from the past. I hope all is well with you, Earl.
Let me do some inviting as well.
For 128 years, the holidays. Where's my music?
We have a commercial, sorry.
Oh, no. Oh, heck no.
Relax.
Girl. Darren is on this early in the morning.
Welcome, welcome, welcome. There we go. We back in action.
Cool. We have Michael Anderson. Imani, you want to model your naturally shirt?
Do I want to model it? What do you mean by model it? I think you can see naturally beautiful. Support the brand. Mom, can you do me a favor? Are you on your phone?
Okay. Yeah. Why?
For some reason, the questions didn't come through on my iPad. Oh, never mind. I got it.
Okay, let's get this party going.
Nervous.
Past minutes. Hey, Tiffany Ann, thank you for joining us this morning. We got our powerhouse on here this morning. One of my sideline partners that's a beast out in the travel world. Thank you for joining us, Alicia. Good morning, Diane. Thank you for joining us for our mother-daughter chat. My name is Carmen Ray, and I'm coming from the sunny state of Arizona. And I come on every Monday morning with my amazing daughter, Imani Ray, also known as Ray Girl Number 2, holding it down at Alverno. And we decided to share our mother-daughter chats that we have on Monday mornings. We selected topics, but I'm going to let Imani tell you a little bit about how this whole thing started. Let's go.
Absolutely. Like my mom said, my name is Imani. I'm from Milwaukee, in Milwaukee still for school. And we started these mother-daughter morning chats because I would FaceTime my mom every single morning. And I know before the time difference, she was 2 hours ahead of me. So like I would get 2 hours behind me. So like I would get up early and I would call her. I would always set my alarm, check the time that it is there where she is, and I'm like, okay, this is perfect time. I can call my mom, talk to her early, and just get a fresh start to my day. I had so many questions and concerns, so many things that you typically talk to your mom about, and I would just spend that time in the morning with my mom, just as if like we would if we lived together in the same state. And so we were like, what if we did some of these conversations? Because our conversations would be so intense, like so early in the morning. We like, what would it be like if we engaged the community on our social media in these conversations? So that's what we came up with. We're like, okay, let's kind of see how this works, and we came up with a list of topics that we could talk about and engage you all in, and it's been going really, really great so far. This is the third episode of an 8-week series. We talked about many different things so far. We talked about branding so far. What did we talk about for the second one, Mom?
It was the life of
Yeah.
an entrepreneur for parents and children.
Yes. So we're on our third one, and today we're going to be talking about being well balanced and what that means in our lives. We're nowhere near have reached the peak of figuring out balance in our life, but we're going to talk about that and how it's a continuous journey.
Yes, yes, yes. Hey, Mr. Keith, thank you so much for joining us. Okay, Imani, go right ahead.
Alrighty, so we're going to start. It's going to be more like a question and answer kind of thing, and we're going to engage through questions that I came up with centered around balance. The first question I have for you, Mom, is what does balance look like in your life?
Okay, well, balance is something that I strive for, but I got to just be honest. And part of my brand is being honest and being transparent. But this is something that I believe so deeply in, but I'm so far from it that it really concerns me. Being well balanced means to me that my life is distributed in this order, that I am able to really be um, in the moment. That means that I'm not thinking too much about my past. I'm not anticipating the future too much. And I am very spiritually connected. That for me means that I have spiritual practice going on throughout the day, not just going to a church service, not just, reading my scriptures, but in all through my day, I need to be, making sure that I'm breathing deeply, that I am noticing the blessings all around me, and I'm not being overly anxious. So I want to be able to be well balanced. I have to be able to put my spiritual life first. I need to be able to put my family and my friends second, and then I need to put my business third. And I have too many days that I dibble and dabble in my spiritual practice. I spend way too much time with work, and then the things that I'm doing all of this for end up fitting in when I can get them in, and that's my family and friends. And so that's why, good morning, Denise. That's why I don't feel like I have that balance, but every day I work, towards working on that. How about for you, Imani? If you had to rate yourself on a scale of 1 to 10 around balance, when is it that you feel balanced, the most balanced?
On a scale from 1 to 10, depending on the week, like it fluctuates so much, so it's hard to really narrow it down to one number of where I am right now, because I can have really good weeks that are at like a 7 or 8, then I have weeks that are more like a 4 or 5 because I just struggled that week. But balance for me looks like when I do have like a healthy, well balanced week, it looks like when I have a good balance between school, work, and then time to reflect on my word and like have some devotional time to myself. So mornings where I start, when I'm really actively using my passion planner. For those of you who don't know what a passion planner, it's a traditional calendar, but it also lays out like a life map, setting goals for your week. It's really a planner that helps you to be like more productive. So when I start my day with like my passion planner and journaling and some type of devotion is when I feel really well balanced. And when I'm on time and I make every moment count in the day is definitely a time when I feel balanced. And also when I include conversations with family and friends in my day, as well as just any day that really feels productive in those key areas that you mentioned, like in areas of like self-care, spending time with family and friends, and like spending time with God. all of those things, when they happen together, I start to feel really like I have some type of balance in my life.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it truly makes a difference on how we start our day. Okay, what do you have next for me?
So, what? Oh, do you take time out of your day purely for yourself?
I would say when I'm practicing mindfulness, like there are some days when I just enjoy my walk to work. There are some days that after I work, before I start doing anything else, I just kind of spend time with my thoughts. But that is again something that is very hard to do because I have Facebook addictions. You know how other people have addictions. I have addictions to Facebook. I cannot get a vacation without putting it down. But I can certainly say, good morning, Shaquille. I can certainly say that when I am not attached to my phone, which is very rare, that's when I feel like I'm taking time for myself. And this phone thing, this social media thing can be detrimental. Who's that laughing? You're Amy.
Amy.
But
Because she know you addicted
yeah,
to Facebook.
yeah, it's very, very, I'm addicted to Facebook. I'm addicted to YouTube. And so those are the times when I'm not making time for myself. But the things that I love doing, like I love when I get a chance to go to the sisterhood breakfast. I love when I get a chance to join my mastermind community. I love my work so much. And I have such an amazing community. When I do things with them, that's when I feel like I'm doing something for myself. I love going to the coffee shop and taking time to read. Do I do that much? Nowhere near how much I should do it. Because remember when you were growing up, we used to do that all the time, go to the bookstore.
I do. I do. That question is
Yeah.
so interesting for me because that purely for yourself piece is really interesting for me because I'm alone a lot, but that just goes with like being away for college, being away from family, in college. That's normal. But what I got from this question is like intentional time on your own. And that's something that I want to work on, being more intentional about the time I spend alone, and being able to know that even if I had the opportunity to be with others, I chose to spend that time alone and be with myself and self-reflect and do the things that I need to do for self. Um, and I think that that's what I thought of when I saw that question, because I'm like, yeah, I do spend a lot of time alone, but is it intentional, healthy time that I'm spending alone? And yeah, that's what I thought about.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Mm-hmm. That's true.
what do you feel like you struggle with as it pertains to balance?
I struggle with I just work too much, bottom line. Like I struggle with just the spices of life. I struggle with the spices of life, making sure that I'm making time to prepare meals consciously, like that I'm not just grabbing the first thing and the easiest thing that I can find. I struggle with the fact that I just don't make time consistent enough for my priorities. And there's no reason why I have an amazing fitness center right here on my property, and I love when I take time to go work out, but I just don't do it consistently. So those are just things that I struggle with on a daily basis.
Yes, and my auntie said consistency. That's key. For me, the struggle that I have is I allow one bad moment to create a bad day and ultimately create a bad week. Um, and I really want to get to a place where I'm able to take that moment for what it is, accept it, reflect on it, and adjust wherever I need to adjust, instead of allowing that to create an entire bad day, and just make
Mm-hmm.
things worse than they need to be. So that takes a certain amount of balance and understanding of who I am to be able to do that. But I feel like that's definitely a big struggle of mine. But that's why, like,
Mm-hmm.
those mother daughter conversations we have in the morning, like I'll call you in the morning and I'll, whatever it was that made me feel like I had a bad day, talk to you about it, and get that positive energy. And you're always optimistic about things, so that helped me to like understand, like, okay, it's not that serious, it's not that bad. Just pick up where you left off and just make the day better from here.
Oh, I gotta add this. Wait, hold on. I gotta add something to this. My worst thing that I'm doing that's so about self-sabotage is the fact that I put too many things on my list. If you shouldn't have all these things on your list, because at the end of the day you feel like a failure. Like, so one of the things I'm trying this week that I learned from Shantina is I'm only going to put 3 things on my list. My list be so ridiculous.
Same.
Like, you know, people, I'm a person, I need to be able to check things off. But when you have 15 things on your list and you work an 8-hour day, why am I putting all that stuff on my list? That's a form of self-sabotage. Emotionally, it's self-sabotage because you don't feel like you're getting anything done. So I'm just gonna stop putting all that stuff on my list.
I do the same thing. It's like setting yourself up for failure, and then you I actually worked on that with my tutor recently. You set yourself up for failure by having a list of 15. You look at it and you get discouraged. Whereas if you just break it down into 3 things at a time, you feel more encouraged because you're checking off something. Even though it's just a small list of 3. Once you get those 3 tasks figured out, you can go move on to the next 3. So it's fine if you have like a long list in the back of your agenda or calendar, but then break those down into smaller sections. And that's something I work on every single day.
Guess what your 80 said? She came up with a good idea. We should plan to have a listless day with no list. Can you imagine that? Because I have a list on the weekend. Mr. Keefe said that was a good question.
Yeah, I don't think I could go without a list. That's a hard one right there. Like, my life is based solely on lists. But maybe
I'm sorry, when y'all was little, I'm so sorry.
And that's funny. I had to say something about that. I was just talking to my dad a couple weeks ago and telling him how my mom had a ridiculous habit of putting like chore lists on the refrigerator every day, and it wouldn't be normal chores like do the laundry or do the dishes. My mom would have stuff on this list like pick up those pieces of paper I saw on your floor under your bed in the room. Like, it's so specific and it's so ridiculous. And it's like pick up that shoe you left here. Like, it was so petty. If anybody invented petty, it was my mom. Like, she was like completely with this list. I don't even understand. People when we had company growing up, those people come back to me now to this day at this age and say, I don't know how you made it through that. Like, we wouldn't even want to come over because your mom was so ridiculous with those chore lists. She would just barge in your room and like we would be having fun, and it just turned into this this ridiculous
oh my god,
cleaning up session. It's crazy. I feel the boy brother because they're still traumatized by that cleaning up.
But your brothers, their friends used to just come right in. When they spend the night, they used to just come right in and ask for the list. Like, let's get these chores out the way.
They already knew, like, let's get these chores out of the way so we can have fun and do whatever that we.
Yeah.
And like, I feel like I've been doing that since I was like 5. It's very traumatic, Mom.
Sorry. But I just know for kids, they always saying they forgot. They always saying, Kim said I have on a list for breakfast. Yep.
That's true.
But listen, I had to do that because I don't have time for little kids to be telling me they forgot. Okay, now you can't say you forgot because I have the list on the refrigerator. That's how I figured it.
That is so true. So you kind of talked about this in the beginning, but I'll ask again just in case you want to elaborate or add anything else. What are your core values?
Oh yeah, my core values. Wait a minute. Tell me, is values something? Because I go back and forth between values and real practices. Like, it sounds slick when I say that I put God first, family second, and my business third. That's supposed to be my core values, but I believe we do what we do is our value. Like, it sounds good, it sounds slick, but I'm not living in alignment with that. So I'm gonna say that's my mission, that's my purpose, that's what I strive for. But if I had to say what I value, what I spend my time on is my freaking business. Yeah. And I spend more time on that business than I do anything else. So, I don't want to sound slick. I want it to really happen.
Right. And it sounds like you're saying your values are what you do and not what you say.
Yeah.
Because we talk about it all day, what we want our values to be, but until we start doing it, it doesn't become our true values.
Mm-hmm.
And I think for
what do you value?
I think for me, I definitely value my education. I value having a relationship with God. I value family, and, and um, I value a lot of those things on the list that you said. It's just a matter of making it clear in my life that those are the things that I value. Because a lot of the times I think about that in my head, and I know it as a core value, but I don't express it through action, and that's a daily struggle.
Are you open for input on that?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, well, I'm not saying this just because you're my daughter, but I promise you, I know very few people that live their life in alignment of what they say like you do. Like, I don't even know many times that you say that you value your relationship with God, but you show that in your actions. You are consistently working on your devotion. You consistently attend church and Bible study. Like, to me, that's an alignment. I'm so proud of the fact that you don't just talk about it, that you truly be about it, and you value your education. So when you could have very easily came to Arizona where it was safe and you had family and you had options to come here and we could all just figure it out together, you stood on what you believed in. You knew that Alverno education would put you leap years ahead of many of your peers and just prepare you for success. And you made that huge sacrifice with no financial security. It ain't like me and your dad sat and planned financially for you to attend the colleges like so many people do for their children. We just didn't have that. And you still said, I'm gonna stick it out, I'm gonna figure it out. So I just really thank God for you having a lifestyle that's truly in alignment with what you say. So I always tell people, you're just a better version of me. You're such a higher level and a better version of me because you really do what you said that you what you're going to do. I can only hope to get there. You inspire me in that way.
I appreciate that, but I do also want to be transparent in my the way I process what it is that you said. I like, yes, I go to church and yes, I go to Bible study every week, but I want to get to a point where just because it shows on the outside that I value that thing, I want it to exist in my personal life more too. So like those devotionals, like I might get 2 of them done in a week. I want to get to a point where I'm being more consistent. Like when my auntie was talking about in the comments, like consistency is key. Like I am a little hard on myself, and like I do love what you said, and I do think that that's something that I do strive for, and making sure that my actions follow up. But because I value my education, I need to make sure I'm getting my homework done. And because I value being here at Alverno, like those are the little pieces of the puzzle that I need to get under control.
I'm sorry. I hope that we don't lose our connection because I'm walking to work. I just feel like I need to get there a little early today.
Okay. Did you hear everything I said?
I heard a lot of it. You were so on point. Yeah, and I do agree. You are a bit hard on yourself. We got to work on that.
Alrighty. So, how do you know if you're working too hard, and what should you do about it?
Like yesterday, I played myself so bad yesterday because I worked Saturday and I sat in the corner of my bed. I had such a poor quality of life yesterday. I got so much work done, but I was so freaking sore. Why they got this walk?
They said that we're breaking up. I don't know if we're still. All right, let's wait for their feedback. Are we still breaking up, or can y'all hear us?
Yeah.
Because I don't want you to keep talking if they don't hear you.
Right. Somebody let us know if you can hear us now.
Can y'all hear us? My auntie said it's okay.
Okay, cool. Good. Okay, go ahead, Imani.
Yeah, so I was asking, you were telling us about your day yesterday because I asked, how do you know? How do you know if you're working too hard, and what should you do about it?
Yesterday was that day. Yesterday was that day. I literally worked. I was so behind on my work because I worked my job Saturday and I have this major conference coming up major conference coming up in January. I needed to get things, start drafting my speaker letters. And I just had so much to do. I put too much on my list. And yesterday I just felt like saying, this is really a poor quality of life. This is not going to happen this week. So, you know, how do you know, Imani, when you know you're working too hard?
Moments like the other day when I called you, just like
Yeah.
I reached my breaking point, just like crying.
Yeah.
And like it's something that will creep up on you if you don't have a good sense of balance. Because I didn't start my morning realizing how exhausted or tired I was. I just was on that rat race, and just doing my everyday things. And then when we were on the phone and I like broke down, that was because I didn't like, you just keep going and you don't realize, or you don't talk about it. It's like when you talk about it, you get like a reality check, like, wow, like I am really struggling. And sometimes it takes conversation for me to recognize those things. So those are moments when I realize I'm working too hard. It starts to have an emotional impact on me.
Mm-hmm.
And so the part of that question is, what do we do about it? So what do we do about it when we realize we're working too hard? And I think, like what I said at the end of mine, is talking about it. I think that's a good thing. Like when you kind of say it out loud, you kind of recognize when you're working too hard or doing too much. And just having conversations with you help me realize when I'm like doing too much, because I don't even have to just say it out loud. Like you honest as a mug with me, Mom. You'll tell me in a second I'm doing too much. So just having that accountability is important.
Yeah. But I'm so glad. I feel like that's my purpose, is to be that for my kids, like a voice of reason. And I know sometimes it comes across as being judgmental, but that's never my intent. I just feel like at 55, I've learned some things, I've experienced some things, and I can see things for your life that I don't want y'all to have to experience. And because I know you're so passionate about community, you're so passionate about your work, but you know, nonprofit and volunteer work, it can be a huge recipe for burnout. And that's what happened to me. And I just don't want you to have to go through that if I've already been through that. And you want to give from a place of abundance, not from a, how did you say that? From like an empty place.
Yeah, pour from an empty cup.
Yeah, pour from an empty cup. And I just hate to say that, but Milwaukee has a way of breeding that in people. They really have a way of breeding that. And you want to give from a place of surplus and abundance, not from a place of lack and scarcity. Take care of you. I remember Dr. Walter Farrell told your dad when he first started UWM, if you want to do something for the community, do something for yourself and your family first. I never would forget he gave your dad that advice. I said, you know what? He said a mouthful of air.
Man, that's the truth. A follow-up to that question is, do you feel like you're playing too hard? So you know that whole idea of working hard and playing hard. Do you feel like in your life you have a good balance of that, or do you feel like you have one over the other? And also, I want to mention this, which I forgot to say in the beginning. If you guys can answer some of these questions for yourself in the comments. So our next question is asking, are you playing too hard? Are you spending more playtime than work time? And if so, like how does that look in your life? So answer that in the comments as we answer that with each other.
Yeah. Can you read any? Do we have time for you to read any of people's responses
to this question?
To anything? I can't. I'm walking, so I'm not reading the comments.
Okay, yeah, I'll read the comments. Do you want to answer this question first?
Yeah, sure. What was the question?
Are you playing too hard?
Heck no, I ain't playing too hard. But I bet you one thing, I'm going to start playing some more 2018. I have made up my mind that I'm going out of town. I'm going to be in somebody's plane going somewhere starting January 2018 because I don't have any children at home and I can go. So I have a travel business that allows me to be able to travel more for less. And I'm kicking this party off January 2018. So I want to play more. I'm not balanced. There's so many things I should be playing, and I work more than I play. But we about to change that. How about you,
For
Imani?
me, my play hard becomes my excessive use of social media. Uh, my friend Tiangelo on here, we talk about this at least once every time we see each other, and he always is really just dropping so much knowledge about how it's not about getting rid of the social media, but just effectively using the time I spend on it. And I think that's an
Yeah.
aspect of my life where I play too hard. Like I spend too much time on social media. Instead of like focusing on what's important and using social media as like a secondary thing, like not something that I pick up all day throughout the day. We got some messages. Tiangelo said, if you have a career gig, how can you play too hard? If you play too hard, you will get laid off or fired. LOL. He said traveling is key to self-care, which is
Yes.
Darren said, I sadly work harder than I play. I need to play more.
That's true.
So
You and Darren played this weekend when y'all went to the gospel
yes.
concert. Y'all fun. I love seeing y'all just enjoying y'all little young life out there at that gospel concert in Milwaukee.
Yes, and then Tiffany said, I'm starting to feel overwhelmed in my nonprofit. She said, I'm not spending any playtime. It will probably make me feel less stressed if I did. These are
That's right. Yes, Tiffany.
Now next question gets a little deeper, and it's a little bit more personal. But you pretty transparent, Mom. So the next question is, are you spending too much?
Spending too much? No, because I don't really have any money. So
Yeah.
I don't have any money. Like by the time I pay my bills and I pay towards my debt,
yeah.
Maybe I could spend a little less at Starbucks.
Yeah, it's always the little money that you spend. You spend that little $3 here and there, and you like that's nothing. Especially when you don't have money. And I think for me, I spent too much back when I did have money, but like now that I don't, it's kind of hard to spend too much because I'm always trying to like save the little bit that I have to make some kind of magical increase happen. But
yeah,
I don't think I'm nowhere near as bad as I used to be. That's a work.
Yeah, I'm conscious, but that's why, sometimes business could be a curse or it could be a blessing, and sometimes it fluctuates. Because if I just had my income to just pay my bills, I would be fine. But because I'm constantly investing back in my business, the lines get very, very blurry between real expense and real business profitability. And I just have not crossed that line yet.
Yeah.
But I really, really have big hopes to have that together for 2018.
Yeah. Tiffany said, yes, I am. I am too lazy to cook, so I eat out a lot. LOL. That's where I waste my money. I feel like that is so the story of so many people. And if we imagine, because I eat out too every once in a while too. I recently went vegetarian, so I eat out less now because of that, and I try to have meals prepped or eat here on campus. But imagine if we didn't spend so much money eating out, the effect that will have on our physical health as well as our financial health, like being able to be more financially stable and have healthier options at home rather than.
Yeah.
My auntie said, yes, I heard someone say that you learn that value of money is to have it when you need it.
Yes.
Darren said, I'm not spending too much. I'm just not spending effectively. That's good. I need to work on building credit and paying back school more. Yes. My auntie said, I waste money on my
money story real quick.
What'd you say?
Can I give a money story real quick?
Yeah, let me read one last comment. My auntie said, I waste money on grandkids, books, games, toys, pacifiers, etc. And you always spoiled your nieces and nephews and your grandkids.
Yeah.
At least it's going to a good cause.
That's her. Right. Well, here's a money story for me. Sometimes your finances could be so off balance, but I believe how we do one thing is how we do everything. And when we have no control over our finances it impacts every area of our life. Here's an example. If you are in over your head financially and you know that that's a stressor for you, you're going to sleep less, you're going to eat more, because you know that stress triggers fat uh that fat desire. Like, you're going to crave carbs, you're going to crave sugar, because you're freaking stressed. Like, how am I going to pay this bill? How am I going to do this? How am I going to do that? So I met this amazing woman in the mastermind community from social media, Valerie Whitman, and then Lanice McGee challenged us to create accountability groups. So we created a group called the 800 Club. Oh my God. It is changing my life, because we are talking about what it looks like, what it feels like to have a credit score of 800. It's so powerful. I was like, when they was talking about pulling credit reports, I'm like, really? I ain't tried to get no credit in years. I had to pay cash for everything. My credit been gone years ago. I'm not thinking about that. So how about I get with this group, I woman up, pull my credit report. It's bad, but it ain't bad as I thought. And now I'm in a conversation with a mortgage lender. He has me on a trajectory to actually be able to purchase a home again. I said it'll take me 3 years. He said 1 year.
Wow.
What you don't know finances. So I'm working with this project, and the leadership in the project talks about what we want to do is earn the money, save the money, and invest the money. I don't even know how to read about stock markets, because we haven't been educated in our school systems to really understand. We only been taught how to work for our money. We haven't been taught how our money should work for us. So I'm really opening myself up to become more financially literate, because at this stage of my life, it's about creating a legacy for my children. I care less about owning a house, but I need to be able to leave something for my kids that want it, and for my grandchildren. Because when my father passed and I looked at how many years he and my mother had worked so hard, I want us to be a cycle breaker in this family and make sure that we have something to leave our younger children. That's how other groups get a chance to be ahead, because they know the importance of investing in life insurance. They know the importance of having home ownership as part of our wealth creation plan. So I want to be a cycle breaker and make sure that I am making sure that my life is leaving something for my children and grandchildren. Yes. I'm sorry, I went on a little rant there.
You're good. Thank you so much for that. My auntie just made the realest comment on here. She said,
what she said?
You fall prey to what you have. I don't have this. I don't have that. But I have some cake. SMH.
Yeah.
That was so real. That's so real. That's the mindset for real that I have you messed all the way.
That's the truth. Your lady told the truth.
She did.
What time?
40 minutes. 7:40. So we got 20 more minutes. Do you think, the next question is, am I worrying about the future? So I want everybody to answer this in the comments as well. Are you spending too much time worrying about the future?
You asking me that now?
Yeah.
I anticipate the future, but I think if I had to categorize it, I got time to sit here on this little nice bench. Okay, so I would say I anticipate the future, but I worry more about the past and its impact on my decision making and my overall quality of life. What about you?
For me, I literally was talking to my study group about this yesterday, which went amazing. For anybody who wants an update, I'm going to be making a post about that soon. But my study session yesterday was phenomenal. Like, I wish y'all could have saw the deep conversations we had. But anyway, I talked to them yesterday about how I spend so much time focusing on, like, my goals. Like, it's a such thing as spending too much time in your goals and your desires. Instead of embracing the present moment. I said I spend so much time trying to get out of Alverno and like getting my degree rather than embracing the times that I'm actually spending here. I said if I would have embraced my experience in high school a little bit more, I would have less. I don't have any regrets, but I would have less. Like I would feel. I wouldn't feel as bad about not enjoying the experience. because I spent so much time trying to get out of high school, and I look back and I'm like, man, I should have appreciated that a lot more. And it's so funny that like I'm even old enough to say that now. Like I've been out of high school for some time now, and it's like I'm getting older, and I didn't really appreciate the time when it was there. And I failed to realize that I'm only getting older from here, and the less time I spend appreciating the present moment, um, the harder like I feel like life will be, because I'm gonna look back on it like it just passed me by.
That's right, because you got to live in the moment. That's why my life is a blur. That's why I have so many parts of you guys' upbringing, is because I was just going fast, going nowhere. So I have whole big bulks of my life that I have no recall on because I was just going nowhere really, really, really fast. And so I can't tell you enough about how important it is. I'm like 55. How did I get 55? I was just 25. Like life is no joke. Our time here is just very, very minimum. And the only way that I think we can fully, fully embrace it is if we live in the moment.
Yeah.
And I only have 20 more percent on my phone. So let's get some closing comments together.
Okay. Let me see. Our We only had two more questions left. Um, so let's open the floor for question and answers. Okay. That should
Okay.
the rest of that time. So if anybody that's watching us, if you have any questions about your life that maybe we can help out with, or you have any questions for us about anything we've said so far, if you want to circle back to that, we can answer some questions and answers before my mom has to get.
Yeah. Yes. Your Auntie said. Okay. Darren said. And what did Darren say? Can you
He
read
said,
his?
definitely. I consistently think about the end goal, but the pressure of how to get there causing me to get depressed about my ability to be successful instead of focusing on the now. But from Imani's study session, I've been focusing on the now. Wow. Wow.
That's
Yeah, I
awesome.
definitely
That's
appreciate it.
Darren.
I think that's a constant struggle of like millennials, young adults who's going from that young adult stage to like adulthood, and being able to figure out like what your goals are, and that pressure that comes along with it is really really a struggle, because you feel like you're constantly being pulled in many different directions, and the world is waiting for you to get it figured out. And I know that feeling all too well. And I was reading the evaluations from a study group, and so many of my peers were saying how like they felt so good to finally get those like goals written down and create a
Good
plan,
morning.
and being a part
You.
of a conversation that encouraged that. So that's definitely like a really really good point, Darren. Thank you for sharing that. Do you
Mm-hmm.
have any more questions or comments, thoughts, concerns?
Questions, comments, thoughts.
You have any questions for the people, Mom? Or
Well, I don't necessarily have a question, but I definitely want to thank you all that make this Monday morning chat more. It's exceeded our expectations. I appreciate you all that make time to join us. Good morning. That make time to join us. It's really a part of our brand, is to make sure that people are, very. We want you to be well connected, be well informed, and be inspired, and that's our goal. And so we will have our websites in the comment section. We'll go back and respond to everybody's comments throughout the day. And again, I just want to thank you all for being a part of this. And we have how many more sessions to go?
yeah.
Five. Yeah. So like, share, and get more people on here with us. We're just having our mother-daughter chat, and we just want to make sure that you are all included. So you all be well, and thank you so much. Any closing comments for you, Imani?
I have a closing comment, but can I ask one more question for you to close this thing out? And it's connected to that balance piece a little bit. So if you want to just, if we want to answer if we could both answer this as a closing question, as well as allow the everyone in the comments to answer as well. It's is there anything that you're clinging to?
Ooh, that's a good question, Imani. Ooh, that make you go
Yeah.
deep. Um, I think I cling too much. To be perfectly honest, I cling too much to what I don't have
Mm.
and what mistakes I've made, instead of really freeing up space in my life to move forward. It's Yeah, your auntie said stuff.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't do material stuff. If I don't have use for a thing within 6 months, I get rid of it. But I think what I cling to a lot is past failures, lots of regrets, but I do it in a very subconscious way. But I oftentimes make sure I'm surrounding myself with people that know me and they encourage me to move past that. So yeah, what about you, Imani?
That's a deep question. I think there's several things that I cling to. Um, I think I cling to that constant like negative, like I can be very optimistic when it comes to conversations with other people, but I think I cling to the idea that I need to do better. Like I'm always like, no matter how I'm doing in my life, I'm constantly like, okay, I got to take this a step further. I got to take a step further. I do feel like there's pros and cons to that. There's good in being able to say, okay, I need to improve here, and just being having that improvement mindset can be healthy, but it becomes unhealthy when you are doing really good things and you don't recognize them for yourself. Um, and it's so important for you to be at a place where you're recognizing for yourself and not expecting others to. Another thing that I cling to is approval, or not even approval, input from other people. And so I was telling my Monday Bible study group that I'm gonna, in the month of December, I'm supposed to be going on an input fast. And the input fast is not allowing or reaching out to others for input in my life, and just going a constant month where I'm just looking to God and myself for whatever input that it needs to exist in my life. And so I wanted to do this after the Facebook Live series that we're doing, because that I'm naturally people are going to give input on the conversations that we're having. But as soon as I get to a place where I don't, social media isn't too much required. I'm always going to have to post about my business and stuff like that. But I want to have like a whole month where I have like an input fast and not need other people to give input on my life, because I always look and search for the opinion of others instead of being confident in what it is that I believe for myself. That's that's
Mm.
something that I've like, even when I'm reaching out to you, mom, like I shouldn't have to do it. It should be something that's good, like as an extra once I've already figured something out for myself. But it's very hard for me to make my own decisions, and that's me being very transparent. Like if anybody in the comments really quickly before we leave here have any advice for that, or mom, if you have advice, I really struggle with reaching out to others for their input or their opinion on my decision making instead of just solely making my own decisions.
Hmm. Yeah, it's good to seek out wise counsel, but at the same time, you have to be willing that when you're asking other people's opinion, people don't know your backstory. So I ask people in opinions, but they don't necessarily form my decision because they don't know my whole story. They don't know where I've come from. So a lot of times I make business decisions, and I have made my biggest failures by listening to other people. But now at this seasoned age of 55, I'm willing to make my own mistakes, and I can know that I can self-correct at a later time. So I want to do whatever I can to support you on that input fast, because when we listen to ourselves, God has given us an internal ability to be able to know what's right and what's wrong. But when we hear too many people's opinion, it can really get us off course.
Amen. Miss Deborah Taylor said she clings to people who she should remove from her circle because I desire to see the good in everyone, not wanting to lose friends, etc. Great question and answers. That is literally me. There's so many people that exist in my life who I love dearly, love to death, but I know good and well what's healthy and not healthy for me. And I still make the decision not to remove those people from my life. And that is like, I think that's a constant battle in life, and I think it's something that we need to realize what we're willing to accept for ourselves, because the people we hang around and is a reflection of who we are and where we are with our how we value ourselves.
That's right. And I just know that I'm at a point in my life that I just only love people that love me. I can't be forcing myself on anybody. I kind of create environments in my life that I'm not being tolerated, but I'm being
Yes.
celebrated. And so, people are not disposable, but I can love you from afar. I don't want to be with nobody that don't want to be with me. So I have no desire to be with you if you don't find value in me. And so that's just how I am. And Jojo Pie keep telling me that people are not disposable, but they really are to me. Like, I don't want you if you don't want me. Like, if you don't feel the value of my friendship and our relationship, I'm so okay with removing you and not having no bad feelings about it, but just being able to move on. I just, that's just how I am. People come and go out of your life all the time. And I just don't be trying to hold on to anything or anybody that don't see the value in who I am.
Yeah.
So that's about it, girl. Now you don't open up a can of worms. We might have to have a
We
session
do,
9 because I got a word on
we do
that.
need to talk deeper about that because I feel like the perspective. I think it's different kinds of people in the world. People who can easily say like, if you don't want me around, I don't want to be around, and like that's my mindset. Like I don't want to be around people who don't want me around. But I think it goes so much deeper. That's a whole nother conversation. I won't even get into that. Betty said, I cling handling that success in a positive way. I cling to past failures and fearful of repeating them because life can throw you in the fast lane and you start to repeat those things that stop your forward movement. It's deep. You
That's
have a
deep. Who
response
said
to that?
that?
That was Betty Brown.
Yeah, Betty Brown is very wise. Okay, I'm about to get on the elevator. You all have a fantastic day and be well. See you later,
Thanks so
Imani.
much.
Have a wonderful day. Love you.
Love you too. Bye bye.